What is the fear that all newly self-employed people, like self-employed people who have only worked for themselves, maybe a year or so, what is their most common worst fear? For everyone that I've spoke to, it is that they're not going to have enough clients, they're not going to make enough sales, and they're going to need to go and ask for their corporate job back. And that is exactly what happened to me. I had to go and ask for my corporate job back. So I didn't qualify as a personal trainer until I was 31, which in the fitness industry is quite late. Most people become personal trainers in their early 20s. In other industries, it would be fairly early. But to be a personal trainer, 31 was pretty late to the game. So I went and qualified as a personal trainer. I was sharing all of my fitness stuff, all my new knowledge online. I was buzzing, people were interacting with it. I then qualified and I was like, right, I'm going to leave my secure full time job and I am going to go and become a big fitness success. 12 weeks later or so, I had to go and say, can I please have my job back? Because this self employed thing is really hard and I can't do it. And I've not got enough clients and it's too stressful. And it's, do you know what? It's just not for me. When I was leaving my job, as excited as I was about this and how I was dying to be this big, successful personal trainer, when I was leaving my job the last week before I actually left my job, I was like, this isn't right. I shouldn't do this. And I just knew that I shouldn't do it. And everyone was like, you're just nervous. It's fine. Everybody would feel like that. And I was like, oh, no, no, I don't think that's what it is. I really don't think this is a good idea. But everyone was telling me it was a great idea. Everyone was telling me I was going to be a huge success. Everyone was telling me it was going to be brilliant. Everyone's like, oh, we're going to come to you for personal training. And I was like, right, do you know what? Maybe this is just a wee bit outside my comfort zone. Maybe I'm just a bit nervous and I went for it. And it didn't pan out at all for lots of reasons. At that point, I should have, that was my first big mistake. I should have listened to what my gut was telling me. I knew it was the wrong thing to do. I should have just said, actually, no, I'm not going to leave. I'm just going to stay here and looked at other ways to build alongside having a job. That would have been the first time I tried to be self-employed. That would have been the smarter route to go. So that was 2011. I went back to my corporate job and I was like, being self-employed, 100% not for me. And I actually didn't really do any personal training or any fitness for a good while. And then I started doing one class a week. And then it was two classes a week. And then I did a wee bit of personal training. And then I took on a tiny studio. And when I say tiny, I think technically it would have qualified as a big cupboard. It was so, so small. I could train two people in it at the same time if I sat up on the spin bike and kept my feet pulled up to my chest. It was that small. You can't even imagine how hot it was in the summer. Like if you put a fan at one side of it, it created a big wind tunnel. But the second time that I decided to leave my job to be self-employed, I went about it a completely different way. I built it up from one class a week, two class a week, wee bit of personal training, and I ended up then having a studio full time and a job full time. And I was like, right, I need to make the decision here. Do I give up the studio, give up personal training, give up teaching classes, and just focus on my corporate career, which was going all right? Do I just focus on my corporate career, or do I take the same chance again and leave my secure corporate job to pursue this full time? Ross, my husband, he's quite a risk averse person anyway. And he was kind of like, we've tried this before and it didn't work and it left us in a bit of bother. Do you really want to do this again? And I was absolutely certain I could make it work this time because I approached it in a completely different way. And the second time I was leaving the same corporate job, like 5 years later, everyone was like, oh, do you think you'll be back soon? And I was like, no, absolutely not. I'll not be back. This is going to be brilliant. And that's been, is that 2016, 2017? It's been that long. I've lost track of it. It was like 9 years ago. And it's actually worked out. It's been a tough gig, but it's worked out well. And I've never had to go back for a second time and ask for my corporate job back. So some of the things I would do, or I did do, actually, because I did do it. So the things I did differently the second time versus the first time. Number one, I listened to my gut. I listened to what my intuition was telling me. I listened to what just felt right and what felt wrong. The first time I was leaving that job, it felt totally wrong to leave, and I knew I shouldn't leave. The second time, I had zero doubts. I was 100% sure I was doing the right thing. And in most cases, with most things, you're never going to be 100% sure. But if you just feel it's absolutely the wrong thing to do, and at the time I was like, I don't think this is just outside my comfort zone. I think I definitely shouldn't do this. So listen to what is your gut telling you. Do you just feel it's the wrong decision, or just do you feel it's the right decision? You need to back it up with other things, but that's where I would start. And be self-aware enough to be, is this just actually a bit outside my comfort zone? Am I just a wee bit scared? Or do you genuinely feel this is the wrong thing to do? Second thing that I did differently the second time, I didn't listen to everyone else's opinions. I'm not saying don't get other people's opinions, but the people I listened to the first time didn't work in the fitness industry. The first time I didn't really have anybody in the fitness industry surrounding me to get support or guidance from. So it was just friends and family, and a lot of them weren't self-employed themselves. So they wouldn't have made the same decisions, they wouldn't have taken the same risks as a self-employed person does, because they were happy in their corporate careers. And I followed the path that a lot of people told me to take of being a personal trainer in a gym, which isn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to be based in a studio, teaching classes, all of that kind of stuff. Studio-based personal training was my dream to start with. But a lot of people told me, no, you have to go this path of being in a gym. That's what a personal trainer does. And the first time that I tried to be self-employed and tried to start my own business, that was one of the biggest mistakes I made. I tried to be a stereotypical personal trainer rather than what I knew local people needed at that time. I wasn't being true to myself. I was following what I thought was a safer path. It was the path that everyone else told me to take. And actually, what I wanted to do was own a studio, offer classes, and have all of the training, all the personal training outside of a gym environment, which is what I did the second time, and it worked out absolutely brilliantly. So don't listen to absolutely everyone else's opinions. But that said, one of the other things that I did, the third thing that I did, the second time that I tried to start my fitness business, was I got a business mentor, someone who understood what it was like to be self-employed. And literally, I don't think I'm still be in business now if it wasn't for what she taught me in those early years. So when I say don't listen to other people's opinions, not everyone, but carefully consider whose opinions you're taking on board. And I cannot stress enough how helpful, how important, just how life-changing it is to have someone in your corner that understands business, that understands what you're trying to do, and that can guide you, that can help you from not making the mistakes that they've maybe made in business, somebody that can help you with strategy and direction, somebody that can keep you on the right path, making effective decisions and taking effective actions to grow your business. And it also helps with that feeling of, and all business owners will get this, it also helps with that massive feeling of overwhelm, where you're like, there's just so much happening and so much to do and so many options, and I could do this and I could do that. And so many people just feel so overwhelmed to do nothing. So having someone in your corner that understands you, understands your business, a business mentor or coach, has made literally, I'm not exaggerating, all the difference to my business. I literally wouldn't still be in business now if it wasn't for her. So get yourself people in your corner who understand you, who understand what you're doing, and don't necessarily listen to the opinions of absolutely everyone else. If it's people that wouldn't ever want to be self-employed, they're probably not the best opinions to take. If it is someone who has never started a business, if it is someone who has no interest in the industry you're in, probably not your best people to take your business advice from. So ignore some people and seek out others. Seek out the people that can absolutely support you and that completely get what you're doing. Fourth thing that I just didn't do, market research. I didn't actually find out what people needed, what I could provide, what I was good at, what people would pay for, what services were lacking, which was a completely 180, totally different story to the second time that I tried to start my fitness business. I keep saying tried to start my fitness business. I did start my fitness business. I still have it. I still have a studio and I've got an online plan. I'm not trying to start it anymore. But the second time that I started, say it in the present tense, Jules, the second time I started my business, I looked at what was missing in the market. What did people need help with? What could I provide that wasn't already out there? What were people struggling with? The first time I created, and this is from a Seth Godin book, the book is called This is Marketing. The first time I created a key and then went about looking for a lock to unlock. I'm like, I'm a personal trainer. Who can I help? The second time, I looked at what was the problem? What did people need? What were people struggling with? And then, so I found the lock that was locked, and then I created the key for it. I created the solution that people were looking for to solve their problem. And you need to do a bit of market research. You need to speak to people. You need to look at what else is on offer out there. You need to get to know who is your ideal customer. Like, know everything about them. Create a profile of this person. Who is your absolute ideal customer that you can help better than anyone else? And then create a product that solves their problem. But the one big takeaway from this, and I think the biggest thing I learned from that, from starting my fitness business, failing at it within like 12 weeks, having to go and ask for my corporate job back, and the second time when my business was successful, and it is still successful to this day, was the underpinning thing was being true to myself. Be who you are. And this is true across all businesses, that people buy people. People have got to buy into you before they will buy from you. And if you're providing a service that doesn't feel authentic to you, that you're not passionate about, that you do not love and truly believe in 100%, you are never going to be able to get other people excited about it and bought into it. And that's the big thing. You've got to be excited about your business. You have got to be absolutely buzzing about it. You have got to think it's the best thing in the world and be willing to tell people that. You need to go out there and shout about your business, shout about your product, shout about your service and how it solves people's problems. How is your business or your service going to change people's life? What will be different in their life if they work with you, if they buy from you? And that was my biggest mistake and why I had to go and ask my corporate job back, because I tried to be the stereotypical personal trainer that everyone else told me to be instead of being true to myself. So I just wasn't excited about it. The first time I wasn't absolutely buzzing to share my message because it wasn't right. I wasn't getting help to the right people. I wasn't solving the right people's problems. I just wasn't passionate about it. But the second time, when I did start my business and it was successful, and I'm still buzzing about it today, nearly a decade later, was because I was true to myself. I did something that I was passionate about, and I did something that I truly believed would solve people's problem and impact people's life in a positive way. So I was absolutely buzzing to share that. If any of this resonates with you, or you even want to chat about the journey in business that you've had, reach out to me. Love you. Bye.